Good morning. My name's Jekka. I run a herb farm just north of Bristol. Today I'm going to be doing seed sowing. The most important thing is the compost, because that is the engine of your plant's growth. Most people use a multi-purpose compost. Please don't. That's like giving a teenager a double whiskey and then expecting him not to be legless. Because if you use multi-purpose, what happens is the seedling comes through a wiggle like that, very fast, grows soft, you water before you go to work, it gets hot, you come home, it's keeled over. So it's much better to use a compost that you mix yourself, and it's very easy. You get a good potting compost, don't skimp, and then you get propagating bark, which looks just like this, and you just see the bark bits, and you mix it with vermiculite, which holds water. Now, to be quite clear, this is vermiculite, okay? This is what holds the water, and this is perlite, and this doesn't hold water. They're both volcanic waste. That's the easiest way to describe them. I find them indispensable because they're inert. They've got no weeds in them. If you're using your own compost, quite often you'll get a few weed seedlings in as well. How I do it is I use modules. Modules are the best thing since sliced bread. When I started, I used to use seed trays, and when you pricked out, you actually damaged the roots. These, the whole root goes intact. I fill my tray with my compost. Fill it all firm, just pushing it down so it goes right into the points of the module. And the next top tip is so important. You water this first, not second, because by watering it in, one, you level it off, two, you're sowing onto a damp surface. If you water in after you've sown and your compost is dry, what happens is the whole thing floats, all your seeds will get caught in the corner here, or they'll all go together into the middle, and you'll have sort of a muddle, and especially if you've got separate rows. So watering, just go across slowly and back, and you can actually see it rising and falling, and that should be quite enough. Once you let it drain down, tap it a couple of times, and that gives you space to sow your seed, and it will give you space to put perlite on the top. I don't put compost on the top because I find that if I do, I can overwater. I mean, there are a few exceptions, obviously, but I find perlite is really great. It's like adding a duvet to the seedlings as they're coming through. I'm going to dry my hands on my jeans so they're absolutely dry. That's also important. The other things I've got ready are a pencil and a label. Now, I know everyone's going, oh, you're using plastic label, you could use wood. Well, I haven't got any wood. And these plastic labels have been going for years because you use a pencil so that it doesn't fade. Waterproof pens are not waterproof, they fade and then you can't tell what you've got. Germination can take months. Don't be impatient. So I write the name on the back. I'm doing Mizuna today. I write the date because that's really useful. And it's the 18th of the 3rd. When I finish that, I use a bit of wire wool. I can rub it all off, and it shows how good pencil is. And you can rub it off with the wire wool, and you can then write it again. Don't sew it from the inner packet, because then you can't put them back, because you can easily get it damp. A lot of people now, and we're the same, we sell with these labels. Brilliant. You've got an instant seed dibber. You just fold it in half, on a sharp edge, fold it, and then you put your seeds into that. This side seed, this is about, you'd put about 4 or 5 seeds, no more, per module. If you do more than that, you overcrowd it and you'd have to prick out and thin, and it's a waste of seed. So you tap this gently. If you are not used to doing this, I find that some of the guys I work with, they will use a pencil just to run them down. I then put the seeds back into here. That's the great thing. It's clean, it's simple, There's no seeds left in there. And you can then tip that down, fold it back up carefully and put it back in your packet so you remember what you've got. Put your label on your row, that goes sewn. You put your perlite on top. Remember, the duvet. Now place this on a windowsill that isn't south facing. Any other windowsill's fine. Water before you go to work, not when you get home. That's because quite often the temperature in the day will go up, and that's when your seedlings will need it. And if you water at night, quite often the temperature in your windows will go down. And if you've just watered, the seedlings are going there going, oh, this is freezing, and they'll keel over. So put that somewhere nice and warm now. Obviously, if you've got a greenhouse or polytunnel like myself, grand, but most people have got windowsills. Go for it and enjoy.